Okay. Welcome everyone to Set Free. This is episode 6. We had a small season break that we were having, but now we're back, and I'm very excited that my first guest is a very dear friend to me. And we met in the virtual world, but yes. I feel like she's very, very close to me. And she is the founder of Wind of Change Project, and we were all part of a Tony Robbins thing that we were doing together. And her name is Stephanie Marquis. I hope that's the correct way I've said it.
Marquis. There's so many ways to say it anyway. Marquis.
Okay, Marquis. Yes. All right. So welcome to the show, Stephanie. I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here today. So very excited.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about overcoming wrong beliefs on relationships to finding a fulfilling love. I will say, and disclaimer, Stephanie's not a relationship expert, but with the story that she shared with me, it's a common story. It's very relatable, and I think that someone might see this and then it might be able to help them. So, Stephanie, maybe just for you to give us a background on who is Stephanie.
Sure, yes. I'm from Quebec, Canada. It's actually a French area of a very English country. I grew up in a pretty normal family, but I've been through a lot of changes early on. Our family moved to the US for my dad's work. So it was a new language, new school, new friends, new city. You can guess it was a lot to deal with at such a young age. I was 7 at the time. Wow. We stayed for 5 years total. And although it was pretty tough in the beginning, it turned out to be one of the best, if not the best experience of my life. Mm-hmm. It taught me that anything's possible, that there's so much out there to learn and discover, and that the mountain peak is way worth the hike. And on the other side, there's so many rewards that are promised if you're just willing to put up with some challenges. So yeah, after my dad's contract there, we moved back to our homeland in Quebec, Canada. I finished my school years in Quebec, went to college, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had many interests, but didn't exactly have like that clear vision like some of my friends had, or like, I want to be a lawyer and this is what I want to do, you know. I didn't really know. So eventually that made me kind of question school altogether. And I really wanted to travel. So I quit college, which is not recommendable.
Wow.
But this is what I did. And I sold my car, planned my journey around the world, which turned out to be only Europe because of lack of funds. I had my work visa in Australia and everything, but you know, it just turned out to be 7 weeks around Europe, from Italy all the way up to London, UK.
Wow.
Yeah, I met some pretty incredible people, tasted incredible food, and the fact that I was alone also really forged my character in a way. I would recommend a solo trip to everyone, seriously.
Wow.
It was really nice. Yeah. So when I returned, obviously I needed some money. So I got a job as an admin assistant and did that for a while, and realized I was still hungry for the world. And I remember taking that weekend to really focus on my path. I went to my dad's. I was in my PJs the whole weekend, and I was just searching the net, like, what could I do next? And I saw this ad. They were looking for flight attendants. So I signed up for the auditions, and 2 weeks later, I was in for the training.
Wow.
So it all, you know, when things are meant to be, it kind of flows. It's strange things. So yeah, I worked as a flight attendant for 4 years. It was some of the greatest time of my life, actually. Wow. I felt completely free, like, of my destiny, and continue to do what I love, travel and meet new people. So it was my dream job. Yeah. And at the time I was located on the other side of the country to be able to work. And this is where it got complicated. I was in a toxic relationship, away from family. And I came to a point where things couldn't continue the way they were going. I was feeling so broken down. I had lots of financial issues piling up. I was trying to cope with so many things, dealing with an unpredictable partner who was into things I can't even mention here. I was far from family. Needless to say, I was in a really bad spot in life.
Wow.
And yeah, months passed, and eventually I found the nerve to leave that relationship, leave my dream job because I had to, and move back to my small hometown where my family was. And this was like the hardest decision of my life to make, but it was also the best one. I eventually went back to school, rebuilt my life on stronger foundations, and now I work as an executive assistant. I'm now founder of the Wind of Change. I found true love, and this life has been, I'm the happiest I've ever been, to be
Wow.
completely honest.
Yeah. So just now we're going back to zooming in like in detail about your story that you've shared with me. We are going to be talking about your love life choices like that you've had in the past. Like, what have been the biggest lessons to date that you've learned, regarding love, and relationships, and that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. My parents separated in my early teenage years, and I think this had a big impact on my life. Now that I look back, I don't think I was too aware of the repercussions until my late 20s, to be honest. I really needed to have a hard look on my behaviors and patterns. There were definitely things I needed to address, especially when it came to love relationships. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make is to be really hungry for love and hungry for a strong male figure in my life that I probably lacked from the divorce, because I wasn't seeing my dad as much anymore. It was probably like every 2 weekends when we were lucky, if not like every other month. So, and that didn't really take time. I didn't really take time to make healthy, thought out choices when it came to men. The only thing I'd look for would be like a good connection and a physical attraction. That's all I would look for. And I think this is the big problem. Some people have an entire list of things they're looking for and have a hard time finding love, and others are willing to compromise. And others are willing to compromise way too much in order to find love. And I was on that side of things. And I think it's the key is to avoid falling in one of those two traps. You definitely need boundaries to know what you're willing to compromise, accept, and tolerate. This might also change with time because, a relationship is always in movement. Your partner might change, the relationship might progress and evolve, and that's totally okay and normal. So a good understanding of self will definitely help when it comes to finding the right partner. And funny enough, a lot of times the right partner for us is actually not the typical type we're naturally drawn to. I don't know if that's the case with you.
Yes. I've been told. I've been told.
Me neither. That was a common mistake. So yeah, after I left that toxic relationship, I did a lot of introspection and reevaluated my needs. I actually made a list in my journal, because I would journal every day. And I made a list of very essential things I wanted to find in a future partner, such as faithfulness, being able to emotionally be open and feel secure, feel deeply connected with the other, someone I can travel with. So there was 7 things total on that list. And you got to keep it short.
Only?
Remember the trap. Remember the trap. But once you know what's really important to you, it's going to be so much easier to stay focused when you're dating. And I used to think that I was a bad person because I had like such a list, or that, I had standards. But gosh, it's the total opposite. Otherwise, you're just jumping into a relationship with a blind eye.
Yeah. So maybe now let's talk about, from what you said, what were the major misconceptions that, that led you to several regrets that you might have about your, choices in a partner and the types of relationships that you are attracted to?
Sure. Yeah. I don't like the idea of regret, but I kind of do wish I had a better understanding of my self-worth earlier on. This would have saved me certain heartaches and lost time and major mistakes, even to the point where I've been myself unfaithful. And I will never in my life do that again. But it's to the point where I was really broken down. And yeah, I needed to, change some things in my life. And I was looking for things I thought I could only find in relationships with men. I mentioned earlier being very hungry for love and hungry for a strong male figure in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that more closely, it would have been important to ease the tension and urgency in order to slowly choose the right person. It's like a balloon that's too full and about to pop. You have to release some air to be sure it's not going to pop. You know, you have to leave yourself that margin. There's less tension, so there's less sense of urgency, so you can make wiser decisions.
Wow, that's deep, man. It's so true.
Yeah, and in the end, what I think I was, really looking for was someone I could count on and be close to emotionally. I was looking for safety, for certainty, for someone to save me from my inner fears and scars. Hence the self-work I had to do, because you can't find, you can't look for someone to save you from anything. You got to do the work yourself. So there's many ways I could have released that tension I was talking about, like finding safety, certainty, emotional bonds. I could have found it with friendships, with colleagues, with, organizations, whichever way. If I only knew that's what I was really looking for, I wouldn't have maybe rushed into some relationships, and, especially the toxic ones.
Wow. And I think what you said is very, very important, because I think a lot of people find themselves in in relationships whereby it goes both ways. You needed to have work for yourself, but I think also as women, we tend sometimes to find ourselves in relationships where we think that we can fix people.
Oh yeah.
That maternal instinct that we have, whereby we feel like, I think I'll be able to save him and all of that. And then you even sacrifice how you think your worth, how you think that you should be treated, what you deserve, out of
push that aside.
A relationship. Yeah, because you just feel like you have to rescue someone, whereas they need to go through that themselves, because if they don't, it's just not going to have any impact. It's not going to have the results that you want. So no. It's a very, very important decision. So what would you say you can, like, what would you have to say right now to a woman who's watching, who's in a very unhappy relationship, and they think that they can change the men in their lives?
Oh boy. I've been there, you've been there, I think. I think we're kidding ourselves, like you were saying, that we could change someone. And if you're in a place that you've become really uncomfortable to the point that you absolutely need to change your partner in order to be happy, it's probably not the right person for you. And you probably need to reassess your emotional state in response to that partner, because it takes incredible force to change ourselves, incredible willpower and courage. Imagine trying to do that on someone. It's like 1,000 times harder, and there's no real guarantee that it will work, nor is it fair for the both of us. So you either have,
Yeah. So if you don't mind, maybe just give us, snippets of what you're comfortable to share with on how the nature of the relationship that you were having at that time. To say, I was in that relationship, I thought I could, save my partner regarding this.
It's somebody who had a lot of scars from his childhood. And to cope with that, he would go towards, illegal stuff. So his emotional state was very unpredictable. I'd come back from a trip, I was a flight attendant during that time. I would come back from a trip, and he had gotten so drunk, he was in the hospital, and I was coming back from Tokyo, from the other side of the world. I was so tired, like I couldn't even open my eyes. And then I get a call. It's like, yeah, your boyfriend's in the hospital right now because he got so drunk and he got in a fight with people. And then I found out that the landlord had kicked us out because he didn't want that type of behavior in his house, and it's just normal. But like, I come home to this, like, I don't have a home anymore. I have a drunk boyfriend that's in the hospital. I got to figure it out. So that's the kind of thing that, it was, and always this sort of thing that would happen. So, and it's not a bad person, I was with him for some right reasons, but he had a lot of things that he needed to address himself.
Okay, so what were the signs then that finally made you decide that this is not what you want, and that made you, have that determination to make a decision to leave that relationship?
I knew there were many red flags all along, but I kept saying, like, I'll just wait and see if it gets better. Because when you're involved in something, there's always like a sense of comfort, and it can be scary to get out of that. Yeah. And I knew inside of me that it wouldn't last forever. It's weird. Like, I just knew it, but I needed to make a decision on my own, because even my family would tell me, like, there's something wrong with this relationship. You aren't happy. And I'd be like, let me do it when I'm ready. There's no need of rushing me. It won't do anything else, So, but in that relationship, I'm going to be honest, like, I cried so much. My energy levels were so low. I got angry like never before I would get angry at anyone. I was put in situations of total vulnerability where I was so broken down. I had lost all my self-esteem, and I even had picked up smoking. I was drinking more heavily. Like, these are all signs that something's wrong. But it took one last argument, and it was one too many. I locked myself that night in the second bedroom in that apartment, and slept there for the night, waited for him to go to work in the morning, and packed all my stuff. I was at that point where I just, like, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to leave right there and now. And like I said, I'm not saying it was a bad person, but it was definitely not a place for me. And all those signs just kept accumulating. And I was like, I got to do something now.
It was a situation that was bad for you, because I do understand it. A person can't be 100% totally bad on every day. There's something that made you get attracted to that person, but you reach where you have to weigh what's good for you at the end of the day. So looking at that and the experience that you went through, what is the difference now? What was the difference between your definition of love now versus back then?
Oh, wow. What a difference. I've come to understand that love is really about spiritual connection, about being honest and open with each other, being able to communicate issues without fear that the person will run off all the time, being on a similar vibration level so we can walk through life hand in hand at a similar pace. That's very important. And also being friends in the first place. I think it's a very important part of a relationship. I think it creates that strong foundation for the relationship. And like an activity that you could do is find common passions or activities, sports, whatever, practice those together and make that, quality time. And in the past, none of those things applied for me. Like, it was even like vibrational levels were way off. We didn't have the same communication style. So communication was off,
Wow. And I just to interject there, and I think it's very, very important when you're talking about that, like, establish a friendship first. I'm still like on the dating scene, like, and I'm still single, still searching my partner to show up one day in my path. But I've seen this happening. Like, truth be told, people are in such a rush. They want to do it the reverse way. They want to try and figure out if you actually have a connection and you've already dived into a relationship. And I think that's why people are finding themselves in relationships that don't last. I don't know why I don't know if it's a fear of rejection or it's, I don't know, but it's like people are in such a rush to just jump into all of this without even, going through those basics, just to try and establish a friendship. Because I believe that there comes a point in time where the butterflies are not going to be just coming just like that. It's the first time.
No.
So there has to be something that keeps on, making you guys vibrate towards each other, just having that vibe. And I think a friendship is very essential. And for you to start to want to establish that when a lot of things have clouded your relationship already, there's sex, there's what, there's a lot going on. It's good, yes, to be intimate with your partner, don't get me wrong, but I just think that in the initial phase of a relationship, I think it can tend for sure to cloud intentions or to cloud if you're actually building something that is legit and something that will last. And a lot of people think that my thinking is in the 1960s. I've heard one person tell me that, that, oh, you can keep your 1960s, thoughts. Let's see how far you go with that. But that's my personal thinking, because for the people who actually have relationships that have worked, have established relationships. So I don't know why people then go off and say, no, it doesn't work, when there's proof that it has worked.
Totally. Oh yeah. I'm a big believer of that. And just like there's, like you say, there's no rush. If you really want to find that true person, then you should be able to slow down and, make that list and be focused. Don't, compromise too much. And if you really want that true person, you'll wait.
Yeah. So, okay, you have a project that you do, Wind of Change, that you mentioned when you were introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure. Yes. Well, you were there at the very beginning. You even helped me find the name. So it's the Win of Win project. It's essentially a platform, Facebook group, YouTube channel, Instagram account. It was created to inspire women that have been through tough moments and who are currently going through them, and need a safe place to network, be empowered, and find positive insights. I'm convinced that if I hadn't been involved in the network when I was going through my tough times, I probably would have cut the cord earlier with the toxic environment I was in, because it's nice to feel supported and feel heard and surrounded with like-minded people. So this is the purpose of Win of Change. And on my YouTube channel, you can find inspirational stories, just like Watsy's, that can lift your spirit, and women share their own stories about their challenges and ups and downs and how they coped and created a better life for themselves. So I hope it can relate. People can relate and find tools that can help them go through what they're going. And I don't personally think that I'll be coaching ever, but I'm in contact with many life coaches. So my mission is also to help, make that bridge. If someone needs help, then I'll find a coach for them. And eventually I'd love to be funding consultations for these people.
So we're going to put the links to your Facebook group and all the other accounts for Wind of Change in the description below if you're interested. I'm part of all of this, and it's very true that it's a very safe place. People share there, and they are vulnerable, and I like that you always come up with something very engaging, that is thought-provoking, that makes us sometimes think twice about some of the decisions that we make in our lives. So I really like what you're doing, and I really wish that it would grow to be big, because I believe in the purpose of what you're trying to do. So looking at this project, could you say that you also found the strength to actually do this because you now have a very supportive partner, you are in a much happier relationship, so it has opened this part for you? Would you say that?
Oh, that's a good one.
For information about him.
Well, that's a very good question. Okay. Well, I believe that having a supportive partner is really great. It's a blessing, actually, because we all want to be supported in some way or another as humans. But having a partner who supports me and loves me relieves a lot of stress. Yes, because I know I can count on him for honest feedback, insights, and I know he has my best interests at heart. But I also think a supportive partner isn't synonym of being comfortable doing the things I love necessarily. I have a very good example. My current partner is a supportive partner, yes, but he knows nothing about social media, marketing, social content, posting, YouTube channel, none of that. He could have been born in the 1990s and it would be the same thing. He's an entrepreneur, actually, and he does very manual, tangible work. So for him, when I tell him about my online projects, he's just he doesn't get it. He doesn't get what I'm doing.
But so he's do you, baby, it's okay, just do you.
Just do it, just do what you're doing, and I don't want to hear too much about it because he just doesn't get it. But he means well, but if I only depended on his advice and on his intake, I probably wouldn't be doing Win of Change. So always believe in your vision first, your purpose, regardless of what people say, even your closest people.
Wow. And I think, I guess this is where they say opposites attract.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
he might not be interested in this, but that doesn't make him a bad partner. Like, he's the
No.
great partner for you. And
Yes.
I think that's another thing, like, you know, you can find yourself probably in a situation like that, whereby you can end up depressed, thinking that he doesn't show interest in the things that I am doing. You want him to be on camera with you, with whatever it is that you're doing, and then you think that he doesn't love you. And to me, I'm just like, no, you know, where you should be also comfortable to do. I'm sure there are some things that he does as well, and you're like, no, I ain't gonna be part of that. But there are things that you then still do together, and which is okay, you know, when you're in a relationship. So that's one thing, like, you know, to definitely take away from that.
Yes.
So
yes.
just to round up, I just want you to tell us the one thing, a self-development thing, because you're always sharing these awesome self-development things in the Wind of Change project, that you would advise people regarding getting into healthy relationships.
Well, I have two things, actually, if you let me.
Yeah, sure.
You have to learn to say no without feeling guilty, which is something I struggled with personally. Setting boundaries is healthy, and it will make you feel confident with time. It means you respect and love yourself and respect the relationship as well, because you care enough about the relationship to set strategies, boundaries for it to work, taking your own feelings into consideration. And the other thing is my favorite quote, because I absolutely had to plug it in here somewhere. Yes. My quote is, the only people who get upset about you setting boundaries are the ones who are benefiting from you having none.
Wow. That's deep, man.
That's deep. Yeah.
It's very deep. You know, it's got me thinking like,
When they get angry all of a sudden, it's like, hey, you know, it's true. You were probably benefiting from me having none. So I think it's a good one. So if I could say one last thing, would be, so to set boundaries, consider your own needs, understand your patterns, face the truth, stay focused when dating, and slow the down to make those wise decisions. So
yeah, oh my gosh, what an epic way to round this off. I mean, yes, Stephanie, like, this is going to go down as one of the most memorable chats I've ever had regarding relationships. I knew that, you know, it would be a very engaging one if I was supposed to bring you on board regarding this one. I thank you so much for taking your lunchtime, because of the time difference, to do this. And guys, we've got more great show coming up for you on Set Free. Please go to the channel, like, subscribe, follow Stephanie. She's got great content. Join the Wind of Change, especially ladies out there who are struggling to find purpose, who are struggling with a lot of things. And we'll see you next week again, where we've got another awesome guest who is going to talk about another very exciting topic again.
Yay, bye. Thanks, Swati. Bye.
Bye.